To see the continuation of the streaming stored video. In the last video I posted the streaming stored video using UDP. Here we are going to see in this video today about HTTP streaming and the dash. Okay, so in the last video I said using UDP we can stream the stored audio and video, but we saw that there were some disadvantages. That is, RTCP server is required, which is highly expensive, and the RTP protocols were also used to send the or encapsulate the packet, video packet, multimedia packet. And the third, the most important disadvantage is the firewall will reject the traffic if it is of UDP type. So these were the three advantages. In order to overcome these problems, we came with a new solution, that is HTTP streaming. The HTTP streaming is going to use TCP protocol. As we all know, the TCP protocol requires handshaking before the transmission of the data between client and the server. So the initial step would be handshaking, where the client establishes the connection establishment, initiates the connection establishment. Once the connection is established, the client will give the HTTP GET message, will send the HTTP GET message to the server. Then again the server will be responding with the HTTP response message. So this is how the client and the server communicates using TCP. And here if you can see in the diagram that the server contains the video file, and once the video is transmitted, if the server wants to transmit the video to the client, first it goes to one more buffer called TCP send buffer. So the video content moves through the socket to the TCP send buffer, and from the TCP send buffer it goes into the network, and from the network it reaches one more buffer at the client, that is TCP receive buffer, and from the TCP receive buffer it enters into the buffer called client application buffer. From the client application buffer it again reaches for the display into the client application. So the difference between the TCP and the UDP streaming is, there we had only one buffer called client application buffer. Here that too only at the client, whereas in the HTTP streaming using TCP we are going to use three buffers: TCP send buffer at the server, and the two buffers called TCP receive buffer and the client application buffer at the client. So we are using three buffers here. And as we said in the UDP, there is no problem of firewall here, and there is no need of RTSP server, which is highly expensive. That is why we are moving to the streaming type, which is HTTP using TCP. The problem here is, if at all, as we said already, if the consumption rate is high and the sending rate is less, as usual what happens, it will be, the buffer will be emptied and the continuous player will not be experienced. And one more thing is, if until the client application buffer size is higher, that is, we'll assume that the video size is 2 MB, but the client application, the first case will take that the client application buffer is of infinite size. Okay, infinite size. So what happens, the video from the server reaches the TCP send buffer, then it goes to TCP receive buffer, then it goes to client application buffer. So whenever the bandwidth fluctuation happens, so based on the bandwidth fluctuations, the video content will be stored in the client application buffer, which will be moved to the client application so that the continuous playout will be experienced. When this will happen, if the client buffer size is, client application buffer size is infinite. Okay, but the second case is, if the client application buffer size is less, than the video size. So we'll assume that the video size is 2 MB, but the client application buffer size is 1.5 MB. In this case, what happens? As usual, it will reach from TCP send buffer to the receive buffer and the receive buffer to client application buffer. But as I said, it is of finite size, which is of 1.5 MB. So it will store the data up to 1.5 MB. Then my client application buffer will get filled. Then is it possible for the client application buffer to absorb or to get the video content from the TCP receive buffer? No, it cannot. Then what will happen to TCP receive buffer at the client side? Then it will also get filled. If TCP receive buffer gets filled, it cannot absorb the data from the TCP send buffer. Then what will happen to the TCP send buffer? That will also get filled. If TCP send buffer gets filled, it cannot absorb data from the server. So what will happen? All the buffers will be filled so that the absorption will not be there at later point of time. Once the playout starts at the client process, then slowly the client application buffer will get empties and next TCP receive buffer get empties, then TCP send buffer, after which the video will be transmitted from the server to all these buffers to fill the video contents. And if the rate is less, at that time if the bandwidth is less, then what will happen? The client application buffer gets empties and will not have continuous play out at the client application. So until the buffer size at the client application buffer size is finite, no issues. But if the client application buffer size is less than the video size, then the delay or the continuous playout problem comes. Yes, this is how the HTTP over TCP works. Next we'll move on to DASH, that is dynamic adaptive streaming over HTTP. So why we came to this is we have some challenges why do we need see, I have higher bandwidth. I have high bandwidth, like I have Wi-Fi in my home, so I have very good bandwidth. But is it necessary for me to go with the quality, with the video quality, which is of less resolution? No. So what based on the bandwidth only we can go with the quality of the video. So if we have only one version, as we said in the TCP and the UDP, the video content, the version of the particular video content would be only one. So whoever watches the client, if the client is having higher bandwidth, they will also watch the same content, same quality of the content, and the client with the higher bandwidth and the lower bandwidth, both of them will be watching the same content. And if the client is having good quality gadgets, very costly gadgets also will be watching the same content, and the client with the low quality video, gadgets also will be watching the same content if the version is going to be only one, as we saw in the TCP and the UDP streaming. This dynamic adaptive streaming provides us with different versions for the different range of the people or different range of the clients. See, if a client is having higher bandwidth, he wants high quality video, he can go with the high quality version, as we see in the TV channels, high HD channels. Okay, so if I have if I have the device which is of which can support only low quality version, then I can go with the low quality version. So in the dynamic adaptive streaming, the files are duplicated or protected in the multiple versions, so that based on the client video quality requirement, the respective video files will be provided based on the bandwidth of the client, based on the device availability of the client. Different versions of the files can be selected by the client. So this is the advantage of Dash. If I have very good gadget, very good TV, then I will go with the HD. If I have HD TV, I will go with the HD version. If I don't have the HD TV, normal TV if I have, I will go with the normal version of that particular channel. The same thing is applied here. If I have good high quality device and high bandwidth, then I will go with the high quality version of that file, video file. If I don't have, then I will go with the low quality version of the video file. So dynamic adaptive streaming over HTTP helps us to produce multiple versions of the files for the based on the client requirement, client quality of the video. Okay, so optimal streaming video viewing experiences for diverse range of devices over broad set of connection speeds. Based on the range of devices and the connection speed, that is bandwidth, we can provide the different versions of the video content. So adaptive streaming technologies share. The first one is production of multiple files, as I said. So the files, the video files, the source files will be produced in terms of multiple files based on the requirement of the clients from the same source file to distribute to the viewers watching on different power devices via different connection speeds. So based on the requirement of the client, they can select any version of the video file, either high quality version or the low quality version. Second one is distribution of the files adaptively. Yes. So over the period of time, if I am keep on watching high quality video in YouTube, after 2 or 3 hours my bandwidth obviously will get reduced. Then it will switch on. It will switch on to the low quality video file. This happens adaptively. It will adapt to the low quality video also. So changing stream that is delivered to the adapt to changes in the effective throughput and available CPU cycles on playback stations. So it can switch from high quality version to the low quality version and from low to high based on the bandwidth availability. And transparent operation. Yes, these operations, these switching operations are transparent to the users. So these are the 3 adaptive technologies used in Dash. So with this, I'm ending the session. I think Dash is clear for you. In dynamic adaptive streaming also, we have the same buffering, the video consumption rate should be higher, all these things. Apart from that, in Dash, we have audio quality also. Different audio quality versions are also produced. So based on the available bandwidth, we can also select the versions of the different quality. Like if I want high quality audio, I can select. If I want low quality audio, I can select it. So based on my available bandwidth, it can be done. So with this, I'm ending the session. Thank you. Bye.